Good morning, everybody. I would ask you to take a seat. We'll start in 30 seconds. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Palazzo della Loggia in Brescia. My name is Maurizio Molinari. I am the head of the European Parliament Liaison Office in Milan. I've been told I have to mainly speak English, so I thank the interpreters for their translation into Italian. If anything, I will switch to Italian if needs be. You can tell me, but let me thank the Brescia municipality for this fantastic morning. We all saw the blankets in the Piazza della Loggia. Fantastic work from Viva Vittoria Association. I would like to welcome on stage, chiamerei sul palco, the Mayor of Brescia, Mrs. Laura Castelletti, la sindaca di Brescia, Laura Castelletti. Sindaca, Europa, città, pace. Iniziamo questa conferenza, questo momento di confronto e io le chiederei di darci un saluto inaugurale, di darci il suo benvenuto come sindaca del Comune di Brescia.
Grazie, buongiorno a tutte e tutti voi. Saluto con particolare calore i nostri ospiti internazionali e do a tutti voi il benvenuto a questa giornata conclusiva del Festival della Pace. Arriviamo da settimane intense, ricche di appuntamenti, di spunti, di riflessioni che hanno accompagnato la nostra città in un percorso che ha avuto al centro l'Europa, la sua storia, il suo presente e soprattutto il suo futuro. Viviamo un tempo in cui l'idea di pace non può essere considerata un dato acquisito. I conflitti alle porte del continente, le conseguenze della crisi climatica, il ritorno dei nazionalismi e il dilagare della disinformazione ci ricordano che va custodita con attenzione e con rinnovato impegno. Non basta desiderarla, occorre costruirla ogni giorno e per farlo l'Europa è fondamentale. Ma l'Europa non è solo Bruxelles, Strasburgo o le grandi capitali. È fatta anche sempre di più dalle sue città, che sono luoghi in cui le persone vivono, in cui nascono le comunità, in cui si manifesta in modo evidente l'impatto delle decisioni politiche. Sono spazi, le città, in cui la democrazia si misura concretamente, si sperimenta la convivenza e si percepiscono con maggiore immediatezza le trasformazioni globali. Per questo il tema scelto per il nostro incontro, Europa, città e pace, non è un titolo ma è una direzione di marcia. Viviamo in contesti di medie dimensioni, ma vogliamo partecipare ai processi internazionali, costruire relazioni, stringere alleanze e intervenire sui grandi temi del nostro tempo attraverso ciò che facciamo ogni giorno. Lo vediamo con chiarezza nella diplomazia urbana, un ambito che negli ultimi anni è cresciuto in tutta Europa. Significa che i sindaci, amministratori locali e reti di città dialogano tra di loro con le istituzioni comunitarie per condividere soluzioni e avanzare proposte, dal clima alla mobilità, dalla casa alla coesione sociale, dalla transizione verde e digitale alla competitività dei territori, dai diritti all'immigrazione. Sono tematiche che riguardano il cuore della vita quotidiana e che l'Unione ha messo al centro della sua agenda. In questo contesto, reti come Eurocities e ALDA svolgono un ruolo decisivo. Promuovono il dialogo tra le amministrazioni del continente, collaborano nella definizione delle politiche europee e sostengono la partecipazione dei cittadini ai processi decisionali. Soprattutto dimostrano che la cooperazione tra città non è un'espressione astratta, ma una pratica concreta che produce risultati e che incide nel benessere delle persone. Accanto a questa dimensione, oggi celebriamo un'altra tradizione importante europea, i gemellaggi. Il valore è spesso sottovalutato, eppure rappresentano una delle intuizioni più straordinarie del dopoguerra. Sono nati per ricostruire fiducia tra comunità che avevano vissuto la tragedia del conflitto e nel tempo sono diventati un laboratorio permanente di cooperazione. Legano territori lontani, facilitano scambi culturali, rafforzano la conoscenza reciproca, generano amicizie e progetti condivisi. Brescia, con i suoi rapporti con Betlemme, Darmstadt, Kaunas, Troyes e Logroño, vive i gemellaggi non come un obbligo formale, ma come una parte essenziale della propria identità, che ci permette di affrontare in modo collettivo questioni che nessuna città può risolvere da sola: l'inclusione, la partecipazione democratica, le sfide ambientali, le tensioni sociali, l'equità tra generazioni, attraverso relazioni dirette tra singole, scuole, associazioni, istituzioni, creando una rete di fiducia che è il vero antidoto ai conflitti. C'è poi un elemento di più che dà credibilità e futuro alle nostre azioni, ed è il protagonismo dei giovani. L'Europa ha investito molto per coinvolgerli nel processo democratico e nei programmi come Erasmus+, Discover UE e il Corpo Europeo di Solidarietà. Mostrano che la cittadinanza europea non è una realtà che prende forma attraverso l'esperienza, il viaggio e l'incontro. È questo. Quando una classe parte per uno scambio, quando un gruppo di studenti trascorre un mese in una scuola gemella, quando un giovane decide di partecipare a un progetto di volontariato, sta già costruendo la pace, sta imparando che l'identità non è mai chiusa, che la diversità non è una minaccia e che le differenze non dividono se diventano occasioni di dialogo. Brescia è profondamente legata a questa visione. Noi crediamo che la pace sia una responsabilità civica, un valore da praticare, una scelta che parte dalle relazioni quotidiane. Tutto ciò appartiene a un'idea di Europa che si riconosce nei territori, li sostiene e li considera fondamentali per il suo sviluppo. Oggi dunque non celebriamo solo la chiusura di un festival, ma rafforziamo un impegno collettivo che riguarda ogni città europea e certamente Brescia, la tua città europea. Essere presidio di democrazia, luogo di incontro, spazio in cui la pace si costruisce attraverso scelte quotidiane, relazioni solide e istituzioni di prossimità. L'Europa è nata dalla volontà di superare conflitti che sembravano all'epoca insuperabili. Oggi la sfida è diversa, ma è altrettanto impegnativa. Mantenere vivo quello spirito, portarlo dentro la nostra comunità, trasformarlo in politiche, progetti e cultura civica. Quindi grazie per essere qui, grazie per ciò che potrete fare e porterete nei panel, e per continuare a credere che la pace è un'opera collettiva che possiamo costruire tutti insieme, come quella che abbiamo visto in piazza.
Grazie Sindaca, poi la riaccoglieremo sul palco al momento del panel. Thanks Mayor, we will have you again back in the first panel. Now let me welcome the President of the City Council of Brescia, Mr. Roberto Rossini. Before welcoming him on stage, I would like to stress how this Peace Festival wouldn't exist if it's not for him and for the whole Brescia municipality, but also for the organizations like Viva Vittoria that are behind the festival, and for the whole team that is organizing the festival, to which my warmest and biggest thanks goes. So, I welcome on stage now the President of the Brescia City Council, Mr. Roberto Rossini.
Grazie e buongiorno a tutti e tutte. Siamo davvero felici di avervi qui a Brescia e in questo Salone per questo straordinario evento che conclude il Festival della Pace 2025, che è dedicato all'Europa. Sono trascorsi 75 anni da quando il 9 maggio 1950 Robert Schuman, ministro degli esteri della Repubblica Francese, su spinta del collega Jean Monnet, propose di porre sotto il controllo comune la produzione di carbone e acciaio, ossia dei materiali più importanti per l'industria delle armi. Il controllo comune sarebbe stato il primo passo della pace e il primo passo della futura unità europea. Schuman sapeva che sarebbe servita gradualità, che l'Europa non avrebbe potuto farsi in una sola volta, né costruita tutti insieme. Per questo puntava a realizzazioni concrete per creare una solidarietà di fatto. Prima gli atti, poi le parole verranno. Dunque, per fare l'Europa non serve solo una visione. Oltre ai visionari, servono delle persone concrete. Visione e concretezza. Non è forse questa la politica? Le nazioni che oggi compongono l'Europa non sono più le sole 6 originarie, oggi sono 27. L'Unione Europea si è allargata, in realtà a volte si è anche ristretta, ma le linee del destino ci paiono evidenti, serve anche pazienza. Se in geometria la via più breve tra due punti è la retta, in politica, invece, è una curva di lunghezza variabile. Ciò che conta è non perdere di vista il punto d'arrivo e noi non lo faremo. In questo disegno le città hanno un ruolo fondamentale. Lo hanno per motivi economici e sociali, per la loro credibilità politica, anche solo e semplicemente perché il 74% degli europei vive in una città o in un'area urbana. Ma le città hanno un ruolo fondamentale anche per motivi simbolici e identitari. A differenza di altri continenti, dove crescono metropoli o megalopoli, l'Europa ha città più piccole, al limite delle aree metropolitane, ma esse sono uno straordinario elemento costitutivo della storia e dell'identità europea. Lo sono perché le polis greche e le civitas romane hanno costituito il paradigma del nostro lessico politico. Lo sono perché dal Medioevo in avanti furono i comuni a promuovere il cambiamento della storia attraverso la loro vivacità economica, sociale, culturale, religiosa, i ceti urbani, i mercanti e gli artigiani, la civitas e l'ecclesia che convivono negli stessi spazi, la presenza di avventurieri e di pellegrini stranieri, il progresso tecnico, l'evoluzione del linguaggio, dell'arte, della cultura, le nuove architetture, il conflitto e il movimento. E tuttora è così. Le città sono laboratori naturali di vita. Gli imperi passano, le città restano. Le città sono sempre state fonte di ispirazione, dalle grandi capitali alle città invisibili dello scrittore Italo Calvino, fino ai piccoli comuni dove si impara a convivere. Le città hanno salvato molte volte, dal totalitarismo al terrorismo, per esempio. Le città custodiscono l'umano con le idee e con le pietre. Giorgio La Pira, il grande sindaco di Firenze, vedeva nelle città un modo di essere della storia. Ogni città ha una vocazione e ogni città è legata con tutte le altre per intimo nesso e scambio, formando come un unico organismo pulsante e vitale. Ecco perché tra le città è bene che esista amicizia, perché il legame comunque c'è. Non a caso sono qui con noi Eurocities, ovvero un'organizzazione fondata dai sindaci di 6 città europee e che oggi comprende oltre 200 città, e poi ancora ALDA, ovvero un'organizzazione nata con lo scopo di promuovere lo sviluppo della democrazia locale, della cittadinanza attiva e della cooperazione tra le autorità locali e la società civile. E poi ancora Europe Direct, la rete ufficiale delle istituzioni europee, ed Erasmus Student Network, che sostiene gli studenti che scelgono il progetto Erasmus nelle tante città europee e che oggi sono qui con noi e che ringraziamo davvero di cuore. C'è qui una grande rete di diplomazia urbana, civile, universitaria. Non a caso siamo qui al Festival della Pace con Kaunas, Logroño, Darmstadt, Betlemme e i comuni degli enti locali per la pace, perché sono le città che si richiamano al compito di partecipare alla costruzione di un'Europa così forte da promuovere la giustizia e la pace. Oggi siamo a tessere un filo di più, come nella straordinaria opera collettiva di lana che avete visto in piazza della Loggia, e a sciogliere anche qualche nodo di più, a fare tutto ciò che serve per costruire un'Europa di giustizia e di pace attraverso una cosa preziosa che appartiene al grande patrimonio europeo, le nostre città e i nostri comuni. Buon convegno.
Grazie Presidente. Thanks a lot, Mr. President. And now we will start our discussion. So let me welcome again on stage Laura Castelletti, Mayor of Brescia, Antonella Valmorbida, Secretary General of ALDA, and I hope we have Andrzej Sobczak connected, Secretary General of Eurocities. I hope he can hear us. But anyway, we can sit on the stage, and we will. Can someone confirm if Andrzej Sobczak is connected? Not yet. Okay.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi. Welcome. Okay. So first of all, let me say why I'm here. So my name is, like I said, Maurizio Molinari. I'm the head of the European Parliament Liaison Office in Milan, and the European Parliament Liaison Offices in member states, in Italy we have one in Rome and one in Milan, are precisely playing the role of bridges between what the European Parliament is doing in Brussels and Strasbourg and the territories, including cities. So I think it's for us very interesting as liaison offices of the European Parliament taking part in such initiatives, because we are making a small contribution in the same direction that cities and umbrella organizations, networks of cities are doing. We are doing more or less the same job. So building bridges rather than building divisions. I will ask now Antonella Valmorbida from ALDA to introduce her organization. Already Roberto Rossini said a few words about ALDA, so an organization that encompasses hundreds of civil society organizations, local city councils, including the Brescia municipalities, and its aim is to promote and build local democracy, participation, cooperation. But I will give the floor to Antonella Valmorbida to quickly introduce the ALDA network, which, let me stress, was built under the initiative of the Council of Europe at the end of the 1990s.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. You already said a lot. Hello to everyone. Very pleased to introduce you ALDA, the European Association for Local Democracy. As said, born in the 90s, created by the Council of Europe, where we were helping territories of former Yugoslavia to go out of the war and to create solidarity bridges with cities and communities from Europe. And as a matter of fact, it is also my duty to say that a lot of the efforts for the creation of ALDA has also been generated from Brescia and from the neighborhood of this land, together with our friends that created delle Zavidovici, which is also, I know, received a prize earlier at the beginning of this festival. Which is really a fantastic opportunity to connect, as the mayor said, cities, peace, and Europe. And those are three topics that ALDA is working on. Since the 90s, ALDA continued its mission, and we are now working with more than 350 members. We are working with local authorities and civil society, so ALDA is encapsulating in its own governance as well the concept of citizens and public local authorities working together. So we think that this is a fantastic tool to promote solutions for citizens, to build trust, and also to be engaged at the international level, because through our network we are connecting these 350 cities and more, and we have hundreds of partners, and we work in the EU, also very much with André, who is in line now. We work in the EU, which needs us as well. We work in the neighborhood. We still have members and partners and activities in Western Balkans. We work in the eastern part of Europe with a very big flagship in Ukraine, but also further in Southern Caucasus and in Moldova. We work in Turkey, in the neighborhood north of Africa, and with more partners as well, now also in the rest of the continent. And I will conclude this very short presentation. I know that there will be more questions that we can investigate. I definitely think, and our mantra, as Mayor Castelletti said, our mantra is that cities are the places where dialogue and peace is concretely built every day. And we promote these examples for solution-oriented actions in many fields, and we promote and give the possibility to work together and to exchange our practices. I'll tell you more later. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And now, thanks, Mrs. Valmorbida. And now let me ask the same to Andrei Sobchak. I hope I'm pronouncing well the name. Eurocities, as President Rossini mentioned, was built under the initiative of 6 mayors. It includes over 200 cities in Europe, including big and small cities. But can you briefly tell us who you are, what you're doing, for those who don't know you?
Yes, of course. Thank you for inviting me, and apologize for not being with you in Brescia. I would have loved to be with you, but unfortunately I could not make it. Eurocities was created 39 years ago, indeed, by cities that had the idea that it's important to exchange challenges and also to find common solutions and to have an influence on the European policies. So since then, indeed, we have grown, and now we are 225 cities that come together, not only from the European Union, but we kept our friends from the UK after Brexit. And we have also a lot of members in countries that would like to join the European Union, on the Balkans, in Ukraine, and in Turkey as well. And what we try to do is indeed to see how we can bring Europe closer to the citizens. And I think that this festival is a good example where indeed we show that mayors in particular and city councils have a key role to play to make sure that citizens are aware of why we are having the European Union, why it's important that we work together on this level to find concrete solutions to the challenges that we all meet. We at Eurocities every year ask our mayors what are the key priorities, and over the last years the key priorities have always been climate action, which is maybe not so much the case sometimes at the European level and the national level, but cities see that climate change is already affecting the lives of the citizens. So it's important to see how we can improve the solution and also how we can make sure that nobody is left behind in the ecological transition. A second priority is affordable housing that is also striking people all over Europe. And this is a good example where actually all the mayors from Eurocities together managed to convince the European Commission and the European Parliament that it should be a key priority for the European Union to work on affordable housing. And in 3 weeks, we will have our first European affordable housing plan that comes up. And I think that mayors have really contributed to this example. And then, of course, more and more, we also work on democracy and peace, in particular also with ALDA. And Antonella is a good partner indeed on these different activities. My first mission as Eurocities Secretary General 3 years ago was to bring a delegation of mayors to Kiev. And in Kiev, we met President Zelensky. It was just 5 months after the Russian war has started, and it was very powerful because President Zelensky also at that time said, I'm sure that the war will last many, many years, which is unfortunately true. And he said, I need mayors to face this war. I need mayors for emergency help, because a lot of the needs that we have are actually available in cities, be it generators, be it ambulances, and so on. It's not necessarily the national government that can deliver us these emergency helps. I need also, of course, cities to welcome people from Ukraine that have been fleeing out of the country and to provide them with shelter, which is the case. Many cities indeed welcome a lot of refugees from Ukraine. I need cities also to rebuild our cities in a more sustainable way when the war is over. And, which is maybe the most important thing, is that he said, I am afraid that after a few years, people in Europe will get a little bit tired about the war and will think, why is it important for people in Brescia, in Helsinki, in Rome, in Barcelona to talk about the war in Ukraine and also to support Ukraine in this terrible war. And he said, I trust mayors, because as mayors you are close to your citizens. You can organize events, you meet them on a daily basis, and you can explain why this war is not only against Ukraine, but it's against Europe. And so we all need to stand with Ukraine.
Thanks, Mr. Sobchak. Thanks a lot for your going also into detail on what your network Eurocities is doing. Adesso io vorrei chiedere alla sindaca, ringraziandola per la pazienza, io ho fatto un fuori programma ovviamente chiedendo alle due associazioni, ai due network di presentarsi, perché mi sembra molto più interessante che se lo avessi fatto io, però la sindaca ha già accennato all'importanza della diplomazia delle città. Allora io vorrei chiederle che strategie sta adottando, quali azioni sta portando avanti concretamente il Comune di Brescia per rafforzare la diplomazia delle città. Immagino che un ovvio sia, una di queste è il festival in cui oggi ci troviamo a confrontarci e che oggi si conclude almeno per il suo programma ufficiale, ma sicuramente non vi limitate a questo.
Ma per noi, quindi per Brescia, la diplomazia urbana è un metodo concreto per stare in Europa. Io partirei da qui sottolineando che noi proviamo a rafforzare la nostra rete di diplomazia urbana, entrando nelle reti europee, quelle che contano politicamente dal punto di vista della visione, ma sono influenti anche, siamo convinti, nelle scelte. Lo ricordava bene chi raccontava prima di Eurocities, che c'è la forza anche di trasformare e di influenzare appunto scelte strategiche importanti. Lo facciamo condividendo gemellaggi ma vivi, quindi non solo come titoli, ma praticandoli i gemellaggi e costruendo anche poi dei progetti culturali, sociali, democratici con altre città, anche qui che siano concreti, perché è solo con l'intreccio delle relazioni, delle esperienze condivise e delle responsabilità che riusciamo davvero a contribuire alla nostra presenza in Europa. La scelta del brand della città, Brescia la tua città europea, è una scelta non solo estetica, è una scelta profondamente politica che dà una direzione chiara ed evidente alla nostra città. Quindi 3 assi principali: reti europee, gemellaggi e progetti condivisi. Reti europee per noi entrare, lo abbiamo fatto recentemente nel network di Eurocities, quindi 225 città europee, 38 paesi, ma vuol dire anche rappresentare circa 150 milioni di cittadini, diventa fondamentale. E ci interessa esserci non solo per lo scambio delle buone pratiche, ma per contribuire a costruirlo. È questo che produce la differenza dell'essere in rete. Le si costruisce insieme, lo stanno facendo i nostri assessori impegnati in tanti di questi tavoli di lavoro, dalla transizione ecologica a quella digitale, dal tema dell'abitare al tema dell'immigrazione e dell'inclusione sociale. Quindi è un lavoro concreto che sviluppiamo. Siamo attivi anche nell'altro network che è ALDA, che si richiamava oggi. Lo facciamo con grande passione, grande interesse. La scorsa settimana, anche in collaborazione con loro, abbiamo presentato per esempio il bilancio di genere, che per la nostra amministrazione è stata una novità, ma l'aver partecipato con una nostra consigliera a Barcellona, dove si è parlato dei temi legati alla immigrazione e l'inclusione, ha portato nella nostra città a presentare il progetto verso la cittadinanza. E anche qui i bresciani guardano la concretezza delle cose, quindi voglio andare in rimando. Anche la scelta dei gemellaggi ci porta a costruire relazioni forti e progetti concreti che si realizzano dai temi degli scambi universitari, da quelli legati ai temi della formazione. Nell'ultimo anno si è scelto anche il gemellaggio con la città di Kaunas e questo va nella direzione evidentemente di uno sguardo anche verso i paesi baltici, quello che sta accadendo su questi confini e la volontà di rafforzare il senso europeo. E infine il tema ultimo, che è quello della concretezza di alcuni progetti, dove anche qui le reti che ho citato prima sono importanti. Sull'inclusione sociale, per esempio, nel 2025 abbiamo partecipato con altre città europee alla conta europea degli homeless, cioè noi facciamo parte di quel progetto, di quella piattaforma che va a riconoscere l'emarginazione grave, quindi attraverso un metodo, attraverso i numeri, ma anche attraverso delle politiche che sono politiche condivise. E poi infine si ricordava per esempio l'ambasciata per la democrazia locale che sostenuta dal Consiglio d'Europa, che per noi ha voluto dire incontrare tramite la Presidenza del Consiglio la delegazione di Mariupol, con l'idea di ragionare su democrazia locale e le situazioni di guerra o post-conflitto, nella direzione evidentemente di contribuire, di esserci.
Grazie Sindaca. Tante cose belle, direi, tante cose pratiche, come sottolineava la Sindaca. Now I would try to go back to ALDA and ask Mrs. Valmorbida also for some, concrete actions and initiatives that ALDA took in the last months and years that you feel like mentioning. And also I would like to ask you how you deal, because, maybe people who are here think, okay, we have two networks of, civil society organizations and local associations on the one end, and on the other end, European cities. How you work with each other? Because I see that cooperation, and you mentioned it in your previous intervention, that cooperation with Eurocities is going great. So I would like to understand a bit more what's the dynamic.
Yes, thank you for that. I think that how do we do? I will tell you about how we cooperate with Eurocities, but first to give you some examples of what we are, because of course each one of us, myself and Eurocities, we have our own specificity. So ALDA, as it was said, promote what we call local democracy. And what does that mean? Our mission is to empower local governments with tools, capacities, projects, so to make sure that the city of Brescia, any one of you with your la vostra fascia, could deliver better their service. But for us, local democracy is also to work with civil society. So we also have projects, empowerment of association and civil society groups. And our specificity is to put together communities. So we are not only an association of cities, we are an association of communities, where local authorities work together with citizens. These citizens, as it was correctly said, this is our approach and our specificity. So we do investigate practices of participation, we do investigate and do activities where these empowerment of citizens and empowerment of local governments are the key of our action. Because local democracy is not only election, not only at the local level, but also in other places. It's not only the moment of the elections. Democracy is more than this. It is a vivid, living exercise where associations like those who take part in this festival are part of the society. Because a mayor, as good as he or she is, cannot do it alone. It needs a dialogue and a vivid relationship with the citizens all along the mandate. So how do we deliver? I would say we can say three things. One is very much connected to what we call decentralized cooperation or the diplomacy of the cities. The second is to implement projects on local democracy in the cities which are our members. And third, it's the advocacy, so bringing the voice also of our members to another level and to have a common voice. So decentralized cooperation and diplomacy of the cities, we have, for example, the instrument of the local democracy agencies. We have 19 local democracy agencies which represent a platform of cooperation where cities in Europe, communities in Europe are working together in a certain space. So for example, we mentioned Zawidovic in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the mayor mentioned Mariupol. We are the initiator of the local democracy agency in Mariupol in Ukraine, which is now displaced in Kiev. And we have 5 cities supporting 5 communities supporting Mariupol in exile. We have 6 local democracy agencies in Ukraine, we have more in the Balkans, and so on, and we aim to do something more also in the Middle East. So we work in these instruments of city diplomacy, which has a big added value of concreteness and humanitarian and solidarity and learning from each other. The other element is projects. So local democracy for what? Because democracy is not an ideology, neither at the local level. It's an action. This is what I think Roberto mentioned before. It's not an ideology, it's action. How do you do governance? How do you work together? You said about politics. Yes, politics is an action. It's a vision and an action. And democracy is the same. So to do what? We have 5, 6 thematic pillars. Migration, in which the mayor and the city of Brescia is very involved. We have environment and climate change, So how local authorities and citizens work together to fight climate change. We have youth as to engage. We have gender and human rights. So this example that was brought, in every city of our network, we develop programs in this sense. Among these thematic hubs, we work on digitalization and the threats and opportunities of digitalization, with a big part on disinformation, how to help the communities to navigate in those waters. But not only in Europe, also out there, also where we work. We work also on local economic development and citizens' participation, all these efforts to build together a sustainable economy. And I think that those are the projects. The third part, because it's otherwise too long indeed, is the question of the advocacy. The advocacy, it's a sophisticated term to say to bring the voices together and elaborate common messages. So yes, we are part of the European processes, yes, we are part of the national processes, and yes, we are part of the global processes. So we are part of some global networks where these communities bring together their voice to build together better policies for democracy and for peace. And I think this is essential to be together, and in all these elements we work, for example, with Eurocities, but not only, when we exchange our experiences and also, for example, capitalize our voices, because we have our members, Eurocities have their members, and we have a better voice in Europe. All of this, and I really conclude this part, is connected to the project of Europe. So ALDA is embedded in the European projects. And for us, Europe is above all a project of peace. And we bring this with us. We bring this idea that Europe must be the place where peace is the guiding vision. Peace for our continent, and we need to bring this concept around us in the places where we are active, and definitely peace built concretely from the communities.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. It's you give me a nice relay. You give me a nice inspiration for trying to get slowly towards the close of this panel. I would like to ask Mr. Sobczak one specific question, and I ask you to be brief. But I have two questions for you. And then we are closing with the mayor, with Ms. Valmorbida and the mayor. But specifically for Mr. Sobczak, we know that the dynamics between the European institutions at the moment are quite complex. The geopolitical context is we all know it. We would need a 2-hour conference to talk about it, but how is policy making, your contribution in policy making, changing over the different EU legislative terms? So was it different last term, this term, 5 years ago, when 10 years ago, when the world was a bit simpler, I would put it, and then your idea on what really working for peace means, because peace can mean quite a lot of things. And I would ask also the Mrs. Valmorbida and the mayor of Brescia to prepare to answer this question. So what peace means? Che cosa significa lavorare per la pace? So first, Mr. Sobczak.
Yeah, you are right that the relationship between cities and the European institutions is changing, and we have seen that over the last 10 years the European institutions are recognizing more and more that they need to work with cities. A lot of studies show that about 80% of the European legislations are actually implemented in cities. So it's very normal, of course, that the European Commission works closely with cities to see how to make sure that the legislations that are adopted are actually implemented. But from Eurocities' point of view, of course, this is not enough, because cities are not just there to implement decisions made by others. Our ambition is also to influence the decisions from the very beginning, so to have a seat at the table when the decisions are made. And I think that on this, we have made some good progress, and we are hoping that in 10 days, the European Commission announced that they will present their new EU agenda for cities, where we hope that there will be an agreement on the fact that every year there should be a meeting between the whole European Commission and European mayors to decide upon the key priorities and to define an action plan to deliver this. As I mentioned, we, I think, already managed to raise the awareness of the EU institutions on affordable housing, but there are many, many other topics that could come to the European table through this direct exchange between mayors and the European Commission. So this, I think, it's something that we are trying to change. It's not always easy, because the stronger cities become, the more there are also other actors that see cities maybe as competitors, and I think they are wrong, because the cities don't want to have more power. They just want to bring their expertise, their knowledge and their proximity with citizens to the European table to save the European project. As Antonella was saying, we also see our role as explaining that we need a better Europe. And for us in Eurocities, we say a better Europe starts in cities, because cities are the places where actually we can see what are the needs, what are the expectations of the citizens, and then to bring them to the level of the European Union to make sure that both go together and that we have a strong Europe that defends peace internally but also externally. The second question about what we are doing about peace at Eurocities, I think we try to defend democracy and human rights, of course. A concrete example where, by the way, we had one of the deputy mayors of Brescia with us was in August, when we went with several mayors and deputy mayors to Istanbul. We tried to meet there the mayor of Istanbul, who is currently in prison, and we all think that he is in prison because he is the main opposition politician in Turkey. So we raised the voice and said, together with the European cities, that we need to make sure that the rule of law is respected in Turkey. Also because the European Union has a lot of relations, of course, with Turkey, and it's very crucial to make sure that human rights, the rule of law, are respected there. And unfortunately, it's a good example where we actually see that national governments and also the European institutions don't really raise the voice in highlighting what is happening in this country. It's mainly mayors and citizens that actually point to the fact that this is against the core principles of the European Union. And it's, I think, a problem if we don't raise these kind of situations. But we have also in other cities in Europe as well similar problems where democracy and the rule of law is not respected. So this is the first way to make sure that we will have peaceful relations, because if we start not respecting the rule of law, then indeed it can be very difficult to maintain peace. And then more actively, of course, we have, as I already mentioned, played a huge role in Ukraine. In the beginning of this week, and on Monday and Tuesday, I was in Munich, where we have a huge project where we support 12 cities in Ukraine via direct relations with other European cities to face the current situation, but also to think about the future. And I think that this is one of the examples where we try to contribute to peace. And then last example, we are, of course, also a network where we discuss about the situation in Israel and in Gaza. And there as well, we try to see how we can allow our cities to exchange on how to avoid that this conflict has consequences in our European cities, and of course how we can also bring humanitarian support to the people in Gaza. And also, of course, it's important to say that the peace that hopefully will be built there cannot be done without all the different actors that are involved, local actors, and it cannot be imposed from the outside, which I think is also a principle that we all defend.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. I will ask Mrs. Valmorbida to quickly share her views on, which are the red thread, the red lines for, defining peace. Because, like we said, peace can mean, there are a lot of people seeing peace in different ways. So I don't know if your organization has some red lines.
Yes, let me say something a bit provocative. Cities don't make wars, states make wars. Cities are resilient. And the example of ours in ALDA is that we see how much there is a resilience to be instruments of peace from all cities. And we met incredible mayors, incredible, we met incredible heroes in this sense. Even in very difficult circumstances, including Ukraine where we work, but we also have representative of the mayor of Betlemme today and other mayors. I know the mayor of Gaza as well. So cities are the place of the resilience, and they engage very often early than the states into peace processes. We remember in the Balkans that during the war, and there are thousands of examples like this, where even if the states are still at war, the cities start talking and start engaging in community exchange, or also pragmatic ways to find solutions for their own communities, even over the borders of the countries at war. In the Balkans, for many years, for example, Serbia, where Milosevic was still there, was completely under embargo. And so the states could not dialogue with the Yugoslavia of Milosevic, while cities were working to help each other directly, bypassing the embargoes. And this is something which tells us how cities are making peace. And they have direct relationships because they are less, and I come to my point, and ALDA is working in this with our instruments. We are working on what we call the local democratic resilience. And because cities are places of responsibility, are places of less polarization. There are polarization at the national level which doesn't exist in the cities, because also politically you find different types of solutions. So responsibility, closeness to people, solution-oriented. And that makes this nuclear part of democracy a super important peace builder. And we believe in this.
I have to ask you to come to a close.
Come to a closer. So yes, I think that's investigating, and we work very much in giving to the cities this potential of being peace builders.
Thanks a lot. And now I will leave the mayor of Brescia. Lascerei concludere questo panel alla sindaca di Brescia, dando anche la sua opinione su quelle che sono le linee rosse per definire la parola pace, i paletti, no? Mettiamo dei paletti perché ovviamente le sensibilità sono diverse, ma immagino che poi ogni amministrazione locale abbia un suo orientamento.
Devo dire che prima ho già evidenziato qual è il ruolo del valore delle reti della diplomazia urbana, quindi proverei a guardare nella direzione della città, di quello che noi proviamo a fare. E quello che proviamo a fare è quello di creare un ambiente cittadino capace di coltivare la pace. E non è una cosa semplice, ma se non partiamo da noi non riusciamo neanche ad avere quella capacità di entrare nella rete della diplomazia urbana della quale richiamavo prima. Il Festival della Pace ne è stato un esempio. È stato molto complesso arrivare per il 10° anno alla presentazione di un palinsesto importante. Perché dico stato complesso? Perché ha voluto dire mettere insieme 100 appuntamenti, ma 100 appuntamenti hanno voluto dire 100 eventi, altrettante realtà associative che sul tema della pace hanno voluto trovare il loro linguaggio e raccontarlo in un unico contenitore, e anche questo è stato un esercizio importante. Devo dire anche che noi lavoriamo molto sul tema dell'inclusione, il tema della solidarietà nella città, per essere capaci di essere una comunità aperta e una comunità inclusiva. Facciamo tanto esercizio da questo punto di vista. Penso al fatto che abbiamo il Consiglio del Welfare, quindi col terzo settore immaginiamo insieme il welfare della città, i consigli di quartiere, i tentate quartieri che sono rappresentati direttamente dai cittadini, gli osservatori, i piani partecipati che stiamo costruendo, l'agenda urbana Brescia 2050, immaginiamo insieme la città di domani. E questo esercizio ci aiuta, io credo, non solo a vivere e praticare la pace come una città unico cantiere di pace, ma ci permette anche di dare vita ad alcuni appuntamenti, come quello della scorsa settimana, che con la realtà dell'ONU che si occupa dei rifugiati e i richiedenti asilo abbiamo creato, dopo 8 grandi città metropolitane italiane e dopo 6, il 7° punto di comunità dove accogliere, indirizzare chi vive quella esperienza. E se tu non vivi in una condizione di pace interna alla vita della città, fai fatica anche a ritenere che un passaggio come quello di un punto di riferimento per i rifugiati sia un luogo naturale. Cioè si fa esercizio, esiste una pedagogia della pace che va esercitata e vissuta anche attraverso il percorso, per esempio con le scuole, le abbiamo citate poco prima, ma il tema delle scuole, il tema educativo, avere un'alleanza con loro è fondamentale se vogliamo crescere in una città di pace.
Grazie Sindaca. I will ask, there will be a change of panel now. We have to be a bit quick because I thought we had time till 12:30, but no, we have time till 12:15. So now we will start talking more specifically about twinnings and peace. So the role of twin cities in the peace building process and in helping Europe to build peace. So we have representatives of several cities here. Let me welcome on stage Mayor Nicola Canevati, Mayor of Betlemme, and round of applause for him. I know he speaks quite a lot of languages, 12 languages I've been told, so he definitely does not need interpretation. And also now let me welcome on stage, bienvenido al alcalde de Logroño, Conrado Escobar. Yesterday we told with Mr. Escobar that we are talking a weird English on the stage. Hablamos un inglés un poco raro hoy con él. I will try to speak a bit of English, a bit of Spanish, so everybody understands. Let me welcome the City Councillor of Darmstadt, Iris Pachmann, on stage as well. Thanks, Mrs. Bachmann. And Simas Sirtautas, I hope I pronounced the name well, the City Councillor of Kaunas, Lithuania. Thanks, Mr. Sirtautas, for being here with us. Let's start immediately. I will ask all of you to be brief. We will try to be on time. I'm sorry if we were a bit long in the previous panel, but let me start with Mayor Nicola Canevati from Bethlehem. You know, Bethlehem is living a very peculiar and difficult moment, as all Israel and Gaza, and so peace for you means for sure something very specific and very concrete, I would say. How can you define what the European Union is doing, what the European role is in building peace, be also non-diplomatic if you want, and how twinnings are helping your city in this very tough time?
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction. If you allow me to elaborate on the previous panel before I start and answer your question, because I think it's part of the answer will be taken from the previous panel. Thank you, Ms. Mayor of Brescia, for inviting us, for letting our voice be heard in Brescia, in Italy, and I guess now ALDA and the Eurocities, and I hope that this message reaches the brother from Eurocities, because I think the answer, what are we gaining from these twinnings? I think we're gaining a lot, and it is very crucial for us Palestinians to be heard, and for the audience to have an open heart and an open mind, and to really understand what hardships the Palestinian people are going through. You know, in the previous panel, they mentioned that they went to Istanbul because the mayor of Istanbul was detained just because he was the major opponent for presidency. I tell you, we have over 500,000 people in Palestine were detained, administrative detention, meaning they just take you from the street and they put you in jail for no reason. And there are several mayors that were detained in Palestine. I almost was detained just a month ago because I talk peace, I talk the truth, and because I was coming to Italy to march for peace, from Perugia to Assisi. The mayor of Hebron was detained just 3 months ago, just for no reason. He's still in administrative detention until today. I hope that the Eurocities and the people of this free world and the heroes, I call you the heroes of our world, for standing with justice, standing with humanity, and standing with those who are enduring immense hardships in this world. You know, the Palestinian people have faced ethnic cleansing since 1948. And when I say ethnic cleansing, I mean it. If you look at the numbers of Palestinian Christians living in Palestine are 165,000. But Palestinian Christians living in diaspora are over 4 million. That number is enough to tell you what kind of hardships the Palestinian people are enduring. 1 million in detention. 1 million people in detention. 6 million in refugee camps. Can you imagine the mothers, the wives, the daughters, the sons who are waiting for their father, brother to come back from detention without knowing when, because every 6 months they renew another 6 months. And some of them are being detained for over 10 years, 12 years. Some of them are detained for 40 years and without knowing what's coming next. When will they come out? This is the kind of life the Palestinians are facing. This is not only what we faced for the past 2 years in Gaza. I know Gaza is big in the news at this time because of the genocide that the people of Gaza are facing. But it goes beyond the genocide that we've seen in Gaza. And I think finally the world sees what's really right and what's really wrong and what's really happening in Palestine. You know, I want to show you, I want to tell you the exact message that the Palestinian leaders are sending out. When they're talking about Israel, they're not talking about enemies. They're talking about neighbors. They're talking about building bridges of peace. They're talking about having a great future for our kids, for our people. And that is exactly where we need you to help. We need you to help us to achieve that peace that we're all yearning for. But in the time being, organizations like ALDA and the Eurocities, I think they need to have immediate intervention because the people of Palestine are in great need for the basic stuff now, not tomorrow. We have a problem of getting water. Many areas in Bethlehem, even though we are sitting on a big lake of water, we're not allowed to take our own water. We are buying from the Israelis our water, and they only allow us to buy 1/5 of what we need. So in Bethlehem, 60 days, some areas don't have water. Can you imagine that? This is one of the most important subjects that we need all of you guys to help us and support us. Settlements. Every week we hear of a new settlement. They confiscate land and they build illegal settlements and they suffocate cities. And unfortunately lately, the Israeli government is giving weapons to these settlers and giving them the right to kill. OCHA reported just last month over 357 attacks on farmers who are picking their olives. 4,000 olive trees uprooted and burnt. And I think we have a lot more attacks that are not registered because people, I think, are fed up with just reporting for the past 100 years and nothing comes in return. I really hope that you can help the Palestinian people, that you can help Gaza, because Gaza needs water now. Gaza needs medication now. Gaza needs aid, all kinds of aid. Anything you think of is needed in Gaza, down to the water. The people of Gaza, the children of Gaza, are in great need for schools. Not only food, not only water. We want the new generation to be educated and to build a new future for Palestine. In Bethlehem, also the list is really long. We need your support, and we need it today. Because when we need the support when you need the medication, you need it now. You cannot give me medication for cancer after I'm dead. because now is when I need this help and support. Well, this answered half of the question that I was asked. What does sister cities do? For us, I think it has done a lot. Not only material support. You know, we have lost 4,000 people in Bethlehem because people lost hope. They just want to be in a place where they can have a better future. But I think through tours in Europe and initiatives from sister cities all over the world, I think when we came 2 months ago to start this tour in Europe, we came with very minimal hope, with no energy. But we came back to Bethlehem with lots of energy and lots of hope. And the fruit of that hope is the recent announcement of lighting the tree of Christmas, which was silenced for the past 2 years. And I think that only this initiative reignited the spirit of hope, reignited the spirit of wanting to live and wanting to have a better future. And I think when the people of Bethlehem saw the great support and the heroes, especially from Italy, supporting the freedom and justice and marching for humanity, I think that gave us lots of energy and lots of hope so we can continue fighting for our freedom and continue fighting for peace, and despite everything, to continue building bridges so we can share our beautiful country and prosper and send messages to the whole world that we are waiting for you to come and visit the Holy Land. And of course, being here and having the microphone is something we really appreciate, because a lot of people don't hear the right story. But now you hear the right story from the living stones of the Holy Land, from those who endured great hardships in their lives, but still have great hopes for Bethlehem, great hopes for peace, and great hopes for a great future for the Palestinians and for the Israelis in the Holy Land. I hope this answered.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your inspirational words. Of course, I left a bit more space. I apologize with the other mayors and city councillors on panels. We will have to be a bit quicker now, but I think it was worth it. Señor Escobar, l'alcalde de Logroño, Mr. Escobar, the mayor of Logroño. Yo quería preguntarle qué papel tiene el diálogo entre ciudades, entre pueblos, para construir una identidad común europea, porque a veces los gobiernos tienen contrastos y no se hablan, no llegan a hablarse, pero a nivel de ciudades, de pueblo, creo que es más fácil el diálogo y la construcción de una identidad europea. ¿Cómo la ve usted? How can twinnings and dialogues between cities and villages help building a real shared European identity?
Ora? Sì. Grazie mille, caro Maurizio. Saluti, cara Laura, Roberto. Congratulazioni, felicitazioni per fare facere possibile questa organizzazione, questo incontro sobre la pace, un festivale della pace che per me rappresenta una mostra della diplomazia urbana, una mostra della cultura civica e una mostra dell'Europa. Importante, l'Europa. Mauricio, muchas gracias por permitirme hablar en español. Puedo hablar en español, si me lo permites, si me facilitas la traducción al inglés.
Io faccio una traduzione, pero tienes que ser
breve.
Bastante breve. Sí.
Muy bien. Pues la primera idea que quería subrayar es que Europa, mucho más después del testimonio de las palabras heroicas del alcalde de Belén, es mucho más que una institución, mucho más que el Parlamento Europeo. Europa es ante todo los valores que nos han hecho fuertes y la gente, el pueblo. Esa es la primera idea que yo quería subrayar. Y para que esos valores se mantengan, necesitamos todas las ciudades estar unidas.
L'Europa è molto di più del Parlamento europeo, è molto di più delle istituzioni europee. L'Europa è una cosa molto più grande e per questo è necessario che le città restino unite.
Twinning is not just a formal agreement. It is a bridge. So a bridge that connects community different but shared with common challenge like sustainability, like inclusion social and peace. The partnership between Logroño and Brescia is a clear example of how local cooperation can shape a real European identity. Two cities with Darmstadt, three cities with different history, but united by European values: dialogue, human rights, justice, and democracy. Very important for me destacar esos valores.
So, and highlight these values, very important for him.
And finally, Europe, in my opinion, Europe is our present, but Europe is our future. Europe is our hope.
Thanks a lot. Very, very clear and very concise. Now I want to ask Mrs. Bachmann from Darmstadt. So twinnings can help not only in peace building and building dialogues, but also on a lot of other issues. I mean, I'm thinking now of fighting climate change, on social integration of people maybe who live in marginalized area, and a lot of other topics on which the cities are more really in direct touch rather than national governments or the European Union. Can you share maybe some of your experiences in Darmstadt on how twinnings can also help on other areas, not only in peace building?
Yes, of course. But first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to today's event. First of all, I thank the Sindacar, Laura Castelletti, and I thank also Roberto Rossini for his speech in front of you. The examples we can give here for the city of Darmstadt, one of the latest is to build an office for democracy and social cohesion and last year in order to tackle all forms of discrimination and to enhance solidarity within our society. But however, we are also aware that these are European or global challenges that we can only address together with our partners. So I will give some examples. First of all, in the time of COVID-19 pandemic, we have a great supporting to the city of Brescia. And since the beginning of Russia's war against the Ukraine, it has been committed to support this city and give them all they need and as long that they need it, for instance, for delivering medical supplies and other equipments. But there in the city of Uschhorod, it's the twin city of Darmstadt, we also practice in our partnership to give them solutions for the waste in a city to go ahead to a better knowledge and to do this. And the sustainable waste management system was one of the biggest we have with Uschhorod, and we are very glad that this project is going ahead for long years. We have also bilateral projects with our US twin city, San Antonio. There we are discussing urban diplomacy projects. This is a part of this urban diplomacy project. We are discussing about affordable housing. It was one of the points that I just mentioned before. This is some examples what we are doing now, and in facing the time we have, I will let you know that we have once a year program. We have all twin cities in our town, and in the last years we have a theme what we discussed there to bring us together on a very important social issue to come together on this point. And so it worked that we had some challenges on this European weekend in Darmstadt. So it carries out some bilateral projects, and one of it is in Brescia, the exchange for socially disadvantaged youth. So this was
Thanks
my
a lot.
examples. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Last but not least, the last city that was twinned with Brescia, which is Kaunas. And I would ask Mr. Sirtautas, yesterday I was talking to a member of your delegation, and she said to me, you know, Kaunas is a vibrant city, it's growing a lot of young people, a lot of initiatives. And when I said, what are the problems? She said, well, in fact, we don't have many problems. So it was really nice hearing that. I wanted to ask you, again, some concrete examples of how twinnings are managed at city council level, and also more specifically about young people. So what are you doing with young people, with schools, to build this city diplomacy which we were talking earlier?
Thank you, Maurizio. I'll try to be brief. I know we're tough on time, but first of all, let me say good afternoon to everyone. And let me start with a huge and sincere thank you for Madam Mayor, Mr. President of the City Council, and all the team for hosting us in your wonderful city of Brescia. I think nowadays we live in quite a difficult times, especially geopolitical tensions are huge, and it is a very important time for meetings like this to be hosted, and not only, like Mr. President talked, not only to talk, but to take actions on these very important topics. And Kaunas has always believed that this city-to-city cooperation is not only some kind of a symbolic gesture, but rather a practical tool for fostering dialogue, fostering unity, which can really be tested nowadays. So, getting back to schools and youth, I think these programs is also tools for shaping active, informed and responsible citizens, first of all. And what these programs do, one of the most important things, I think, is they expose students to real cultural diversity, because meeting peers from other schools, from other cultures and countries, spending time with them helps young people to understand maybe sometimes unfamiliar traditions, different perspectives, and different ways of life. And this builds empathy, tolerance, and curiosity, the qualities that are essential for democratic and inclusive societies. Moreover, I think these programs strengthen civic consciousness. So these projects encourage youth to learn about local governance, human rights, environmental problems and questions. So these activities are really important. But what I think maybe is the most important thing, that these exchanges create long-term human connections. And these are the most important things. Friendships, professional networks, school partnerships formed during exchanges, they outlive normal agreements and formal meetings. And back in 2017, there was a discussion in Kaunas on how can we foster this formal diplomacy, and not to have it on some kind of a formal or only politicians level by meeting the cities, and there was a discussion of how can we empower our citizens to also engage in this friendship, and one colleague of mine came with an idea of making it real by establishing Young Ambassadors program. And we did it. So since 2017, Kaunas Young Ambassadors program has enabled nearly 900 school children and young athletes to represent Kaunas abroad by sharing achievements, exchanging knowledge, and returning with ideas that enrich the city's day-to-day life. So I think we are very proud of the program, and looking forward to it by expanding it every year. And this friendship of Kaunas and Brescia is very young now, but I think very, very promising. So thanks for
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I will stay with you because I will go reverse order to conclude the panel. I will stay with you saying, if we meet in 1 year time or 2 years time, what are your hopes for the future? I know that Kaunas is also in a very specific situation as all the Baltic states, given the war in Ukraine and the aggressiveness of your neighbor, Russia. I know that these are not easy times for Baltic states. But I would like to know very briefly, like I would say 1 to 2 minutes per person, and I will ask first to you and then to your colleagues, what you wish if we meet here in 2 years' time, or 1 year time, 2 years' time.
It's me who starts, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'll keep it simple. I wish in 2 years' time for the major conflicts we have in the world now, in Middle East, in Ukraine, to be over. I wish the world and us to come here happily, where we can really celebrate peace, and not to maybe discuss on how to pursue it. So I would like to celebrate peace in the major conflicts and the areas of the world, so we could not come here under this huge tension.
Thanks. Thanks also for brevity. Mrs. Bachmann, the same question to you. If we meet here in a couple of years' time, what do you wish to have achieved, and what do you wish for the future of Twinnings and specifically of Darmstadt and your municipality?
Yes, hopefully we can have peace in all these regions where the great conflicts are, but I don't know if or how it will happen. I see that Russia is supported from the US in a very big, I don't know the right word, is not willing to give some parts to the Ukraine back where they are since years, I guess Crimea, for example. I hope that the conflicts in Gaza and the Middle East region will gone, and also the great conflicts which do not recognize in the African continents, in Sudan and other places there. We have also great wars, and I hope we can stop this. And I hope it will, in the hand of the European Parliament and the European Assembly, we can create some ideas or make some better solutions for these regions. We are mostly effort for, because the Ukraine is so near to us, and not only, but therefore in Kaunas they are more than the Germans betroffen, but I hope that we will get a better change for this region. That's my great hope.
Thanks. Señor Escobar, ¿qué puede pensar si nos encontramos en 2 años aquí? ¿Qué quieres que Logroño hubiese hecho en estos 2 años y cómo ve el futuro de esos 2 años? Same question.
Contesto en español, en este caso, porque voy a lanzar un mensaje profundamente social y humano, si me lo permites.
Sí.
El futuro es ya, el futuro es ahora. Las decisiones que tomemos ahora nos van a condicionar. Y cada minuto que pasa en Europa es importante. Cada día que sucede sin hacer nada, cada día en el que los europeos nos veamos castigados por la indiferencia, es un verdadero problema. Por eso el futuro empieza ahora. Y el futuro lo tenemos que construir fundamentalmente de 2 maneras. Instituciones europeas, pero también desde la diplomacia local, desde la diplomacia municipal. El futuro es la paz, seguro, ¿eh? El futuro es la paz.
I don't know if there was translation, but I will shortly wrap up. He says, decisions have to be made now, not in the future. The future is now, and because if the biggest enemy is indifference, and what we have to do is at two levels. First, European institutions, but also and foremost, local diplomacy to build peace. So that's the message of Mr. Escobar. We thank him for these clear words, and we conclude the panel by asking the same question to the mayor of Betlemme, Mayor Nicola Canevati. What do you wish for the future of Bethlehem in 1 year time?
It's a very hard question, but yet I think when I want to say something from my heart, I want to see equality. I want to be handled as equal as any one here sitting in this room. I want all of the detainees in prison to be free and to go to their families. And I want the wall that separated Bethlehem from Bethlehem and separated Bethlehem from its heart, Jerusalem, to be gone so we can live in harmony, live in peace, and to build bridges of hope and bridges of justice and bridges of peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for being with us. I really thanks all the cities, Bethlehem, Darmstadt, Kaunas, Logroño, and also Troyes, which couldn't be there, but I'm sure the cooperation with Brescia will keep stronger and stronger. Let me thank the mayor of Brescia, the president of the city council of Brescia, and all the organizers of the Festival della Pace, all of you for this wonderful morning. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's take a picture with all the mayors and city council representatives. A family picture, as they call it. Ringrazio anche, scusate, mi dicono che ci sono alcuni sindaci della provincia di Brescia, li ringrazio ovviamente perché anche i paesi e le città più piccole sono molto importanti, quindi li ringrazio molto per essere qui, come ringrazio tutte le autorità e gli assessori che sono stati presenti questa mattina. Grazie.